All right, so we are going to be using some magic colored pencils on our test tubes. And you're going to be getting 3 watercolor pencils. So they're not really magic, they're watercolor pencils. And it says watercolor on it. And you know it's a watercolor pencil because it has a little golden paintbrush on it. And all 3 of these do. So I have my primary colors, my red, my yellow, my blue, and those are the only 3 that I need. So when I start to color, I'm only going to color the liquid of my test tube. So that means all up here where it's not filled, I don't need to color that. And I'm gonna start with my red, and I'm pressing medium hard. I'm not pressing super duper hard, and I'm not pressing very lightly either. If I press too lightly, the color might not activate when I use my water, and if I press too hard, I might not have enough room for my other color to stick. So I'm using my yellow. So each test tube is going to have 2 colors, and you can already see that they've mixed a little bit, but that's not the magic. So I'm making sure I have enough yellow in there. I'm really getting it good, only staying inside my test tube, not going up here. If it happens to get out here, this is not a big deal because these are going to be cut out down the road, not today. I'm going to wet my paint colors now. So I take my paintbrush, I dip it, I wipe it so it's not soaking wet. And then when I rub my wet paintbrush over my colors, you can see that they activate and they turn to paint, and that's where they're gonna mix together, and you can see that my red and my yellow are working together to make an orange. Okay, so if I didn't press hard enough, some people think that the colors aren't working. Usually that's the only reason that you might find for colors not to work, or for that trick not to work, is if you didn't press hard enough. So make sure you can see the color. You don't need to press super hard. Regular hard is totally fine. And I'm coloring all the way down here, all the way on the edges. I can color right over my bubbles. Same thing here. This one's gonna be blue and yellow. So I first did red and yellow, now blue and yellow. And you can see they're already doing their job. I'm getting some green. We'll really make it happen in a second, but they're working together already, blue and yellow making green. And that's super important for us to know which colors make which colors when they mix together. So wetting my paintbrush, wiping the end. I don't want it to be super dripping wet, just damp is perfect. And when I wet it, I get that beautiful green activating. And I can paint right over my bubbles, still see them because of my Sharpie. That was why it was an important step. If it starts to feel like it's getting dry, just dip back in, get a little more paint. Okay, smooth it out. Perfect. Okay, my last one, so I've used red and yellow, I've used blue and yellow, so now it is time for blue and red. So blue and red are gonna make purple, and one of the interesting things about purple, and actually any of the colors, but I always find it's a little more obvious with the purple. If you use more red, you're gonna have a very reddish purple. If you use more blue, you're gonna have a very bluish purple. So it kind of depends which color you press harder with. Your purple might be completely different than the person next to you, and that's okay. Red and blue are still gonna make purple. It just might look like a different purple from mine, and that's okay. So if you like more of a bluish purple, I can press a little harder with my blue, or I could have pressed a little harder with my red. Okay, and then dip and wipe my brush so it's damp but not soaking wet. And you can see I do get a beautiful purple. And this is the fun part, activating my paint. Come back again, making sure I'm wiping on the side of the cup. I don't want my paint to be in control. I want to be in control. So never a soaking wet paintbrush. Okay. Perfect. All right, so now I have 3 test tubes with magical potions in them, and they're gonna dry and be ready for my next step.